Peace, family. I want to say I appreciate the support I've been getting on this platform here lately. You know what I'm saying? I've got over 300 subscribers now. Uh, if you're a returning viewer, I appreciate you for viewing my content. I appreciate the love and support. Those who leave comments, I appreciate the support y'all been giving. If you're a new viewer to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning viewer to the channel and you have not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. I don't know what you're waiting on. But this one, we're going to talk about a few sisters, and this one's going to be kind of touchy, but these sisters lost their life in the hands of police or with encounters with police. And I just want to keep these sisters' name alive and tell their stories. Peace and love.
On behalf of Akuno Senko for Bay, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope. H-O-P-E. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We're gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focus, thought, and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate and seeking knowledge, make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
All right, family. First, then I want to start with the sister Kendra James. Portland community remembers Kendra James, who was fatally shot by police. "15 years after she was fatally shot by a police officer, Kendra James was honored, celebrated, and commemorated by her community in Portland, Oregon. On Sunday night, May 6, 2018, a new memorial was placed at the site of the 2003 shooting at the North Skidmore overpass at Interstate 5. Passers-by can now see James's photo with the words "Black Lives Matter" and say her name. Another sign says, "Let's build a beloved community where no one is killed by cops." James was 21 years old when she was riding with a man who had gotten pulled over. Police discovered the driver had warrants and apprehended him. That's when James got behind the wheel and attempted to leave the scene. According to William Medweek, a struggle ensued. Attempts to pull her out by her hair and to use pepper spray and a taser were unsuccessful. James did not get out of the car when ordered, even after McCollister put his pistol to her head and yelled at her to stop. Instead, she threw the car in the drive and it started rolling forward. That's when the officer who told grand jury he thought he was going to be run over shot James. The bullets hit Kendra James in the hips, traveled up to her lower rib cage, and killed her, according to Portland Cop Watch. But this is where callous disregard for human life becomes clearly evident. The officers pulled James out and handcuffed her, which is standard procedure. However, they left her lying unattended while they set up a crime scene perimeter. The police did not check her vital signs, Reynolds said, because he thought she was faking her unconsciousness. Reynolds also drove away from the scene to use the bathroom at a nearby Northeast precinct and claims he got lost trying to find his way back. To add insult to injury, before they were interviewed by detectives, the involved officers went out to dinner that night after the shooting. The end result is that the community mistrust has grown since then, and another Black woman lost her life unnecessarily. I think this is another in the line of police shooting in Portland that could have been prevented, said Richard Brown, an instructor of the Salem-based Western Community Policing Center. So that's one sister, Kendra James. We're gonna say rest in peace to that sister. This next one, I heard of her through a David Banner song, and it made me do my research. But this is Ayanna Monet Stanley Jones. She was born in 2002 and she died in 2010. In 2010, Ayanna Monet Stanley Jones, a 7-year-old African-American girl, was accidentally shot and killed during a raid that was conducted by the Detroit, Michigan Police Department Special Response Team. The killing contributed to raise national awareness of the ongoing issues of young unarmed African Americans being killed by police. It would also help inspire the creation of the Black Lives Matter movement 3 years later. Jones was born on July 20, 2002 to Charles Jones and Dominica Stanley in Detroit, Michigan. On May 14, 2010, Jermaine Blake, a senior at Southeastern High School of Technology and Law, was shot and killed near an intersection on Detroit East Side. Later that day, Detroit police identified Chauncey Owens as the suspect in the shooting, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. 2 days later, on May 16th, police arrived at the house where Ayanna Jones lived, hoping to find Owens. At the time, Owens was the boyfriend of Jones's aunt, LaCrystal Sanders, who was also living at the house. Police fired a flash grenade through the window. What occurred next has been disputed by police officers, bystanders, and neighboring residents. According to the police, Officer Joseph Weekly was the first police officer to enter the home. Weekly claimed after he got through the door that Jones's parental grandmother, Matilda Jones, attempted to slap away the MP5 submachine that he was holding. The slap caused the gun to fire, with the bullet striking young Ayanna in the head and killing her instantly. Matilda Jones was held overnight by Detroit police and then released. She later explained that she reached for her granddaughter when the grenade came through the window, and that it was what caused her to hit the officer's gun. Ayanna Jones's funeral was held on May 22, 2010, at the Second Ebenezer Baptist Church in Detroit, where Alfred Charles Sharpton Jr. gave the eulogy. On October 4, 2011, a Wayne County grand jury indicted Officer Weekly on involuntary manslaughter and reckless endangerment with a gun. Weekly's trial began in June 2013 and ended in a mistrial when a jury failed to reach a verdict. A retrial began on September 23, 2014, but on October 3, 2014, it was declared a mistrial after a second jury deadlocked on the verdict. On January 28, 2015, the remaining charges on Weekly, a misdemeanor for a careless discharge of a firearm causing death, was dismissed. On May 21, 2016, nearly 6 years after Jones's death, the Detroit chapter of Black Lives Matter organization organized the first rally in her memory. Rest in peace to Ayanna Jones. Next, I want to go into this sister, Pamela Turner. And this one here touched me when I saw this one on video. But justice for Pamela Turner. On May 13th, Pamela Turner was walking through her apartment complex in Texas. Just a few moments later, she was tased by a Baytown police officer, Juan De La Cruz. Pamela Turner was unarmed, lying on the ground helplessly, and the officer was out of harm's way, but Officer De La Cruz still shot at Pamela 8 times while she was on her back. He looked Pam in the face and shot and shot and shot and shot and shot and shot. And then he claimed that he feared for his life because Pamela grabbed the taser. But we now know that the taser that he had was incapable of being fired a second time without first charging the cartridge. He knew he was not in danger, and he still used deadly force. Thankfully, A witness captured her gruesome murder on video, which may be one of the only reasons that you're hearing about this story today. While outraging and completely devastating, the video is further proof of the rampant police violence and brutality in America. Pamela Turner's death is terrifyingly similar to the many cases of the police brutality that we've seen before. Another Black person shot at unjustifiably while they pose no imminent threat to an officer. This brutality must stop. There is nothing anyone can say to justify Pam's murder after watching the video. Pamela Turner's life mattered. Officer Juan de la Cruz should be held accountable for her death.
Saying that he shot at a woman after she grabbed his taser and tried to use it against him. This confrontation was shown on Snapchat and it was shared thousands of times on other social media sites.
Sister Pamela Turner, rest in peace. And I also want to give my condolences to this sister, Alberta Sproul. She was born in 1946. She passed in 2003. Alberta Sproul was a 57-year-old Harlem resident, churchgoer, and city employee about to leave her job when she was caught in the crossfire of a police raid and subsequently died from a heart attack. Sproul was preparing to start her longtime job with the New York City government on May 5th, 2003, when the New York City police officers broke down her door and threw a concussion grenade into her apartment. They were acting on apparently false information that guns and drugs were in Sproul's apartment. Police officers executed a so-called no-knock search warrant based on information provided by a drug dealer who told police that his supplier was storing guns and drugs in the apartment 6F at 310 West 143rd Street. The dealer had told police that he had seen armed people in the apartment on 3 occasions and that there were dogs there. However, during the 6:10 a.m. raid, police officers found only Miss Sproul and determined that the information was false. Immediately after the explosion of the concussion grenade, the terrified Miss Sproul, who was dressed for work, was briefly handcuffed, but a police captain quickly realized that the apartment was furnished differently than it described by the dealer, and she was released. Miss Sproul initially refused medical treatment, although she told the captain she had a heart condition. An ambulance was requested, and on the way to Harlem Hospital Center, she suffered cardiac arrest and died at 7:50 a.m. At a press conference 7 hours after Mrs. Sproul's death, Police Chief Raymond W. Kelly said it did not appear that the drug dealer had previously given information to police, although he was registered as a confidential informant. The police chief also said that it was unclear whether officers from the 25th Precinct who were involved in the raid had the building or apartment under surveillance before executing the search warrant, which was signed by the criminal district judge, Patricia M. Nunez. After apologizing to the victim's family, Chief Kelly ordered an investigation into the entire incident and suspended the use of concussion grenades, which are designed to stun and disorient people with a loud noise and a flash. He said that he had assigned administrative duties to the lieutenant who had made the decision to use grenades until the investigation was completed, and that he would review the use of grenades and the execution of the search warrants. The death of Alberta Sproul was classified as a homicide. In addition, city attorneys agreed to pay $1.6 million to her family. The settlement was notable not so much for the amount, but for the speed which it was reached. It came just 5.5 months after Mrs. Sproul's death. Alberta Sproul was survived by her niece, Cynthia Howell, and other family members. That's crazy. Rest in peace to the sister, Alberta Sproul. hardworking woman, church girl on her way to work. And another sister I want to go into is the sister Atiana Jefferson. And this is from an article I'm reading from CNN on this one. Former Fort Worth police officer who killed Atiana Jefferson did not see her gun in her hand before firing, prosecutors argued. The former Fort Worth police officer who fatally shot 28-year-old Atiana Jefferson in her own home in 2019 did not see her holding a gun in a split second before firing at her through a back window, prosecutor said in an opening statement on his murder trial Monday. This is not a circumstance where they're staring at the barrel of a gun and he had to defend himself against the person to protect his partner. Tarrant County prosecutor Ashley Diener said the evidence will support he did not see the gun in her hand. This is not a justification. This is not a self-defense case. This is murder. Yet the defense attorney for former officer Aaron Diener said he had seen an armed silhouette with a green laser pointed at him and later found a firearm laying next to Jefferson's body.
Put your hands up. Show me your hands. Show.
In that window, he sees a silhouette, attorney Miles Brissett said. He doesn't know if it's a male or female. He doesn't know the racial makeup of the silhouette. He sees it. He sees the green laser and the gun comes up on him. He takes a half step back, gives a command, and fires his weapon. The contrasting opening statement come at the start of the trial, which will feature fraud issues of race, police violence, gun rights, and body cam footage. Dean, who was white, had pled not guilty to murder for killing Jefferson, who was black, after firing into her home in October 2019 in front of her young nephew. The charge carries a possible sentence of 5 to 99 years. The shooting took place after police responded to Jefferson's house around 2:25 a.m. on October 12, 2019. In response to a neighbor reporting her doors were open in the middle of the night. The neighbor called a non-emergency police number to ask for a safety check at Jefferson's house. Diener, the prosecutor, emphasized Dean and his partner did not at any point identify themselves as police when scoping out Jefferson's home. Jefferson took out her own gun because she had heard noises outside and saw a flashlight in her backyard. She had no idea it was someone who was supposed to serve and protect, Diener said. Brissetti, the defense attorney, said the officers were treating the situation like a potential robbery in progress and not as had been previously reported, a welfare check. So they did not announce their presence. He described the shooting as a tragic accident, but one that was reasonable for a person in Dean's position. Heavily edited body cam footage released to the public showed an officer peering through 2 open doors, but he did not knock or announce his presence. Instead, he walked around the house for about a minute. Eventually, the officer approached in a window and shined a flashlight into what appeared to be a dark room. "Put your hands up. Show me your hands," the officer yelled before firing a single shot, according to the police body footage. The prosecution's first witness was Zion Carr, who was 8 years old and in the bedroom with his auntie when she was shot. Now 11, he testified they had accidentally burned hamburgers earlier in the night, so they opened up the door to air out the smoke in the house. He and his aunt were up late playing video games when Jefferson heard a noise outside, and she then went to her purse and got her gun, he testified. He did not see her raise her firearm towards the window, he testified. Zion said he did not see or hear anything outside the window, but he saw his aunt fall to the ground and start crying. I was thinking it was a dream, he testified. She was crying and just shaking. He was confused by what had happened, only later to learn his aunt would have been killed. I was very upset, he said. Prosecutors noted to the court that some of the testimony was different from what an earlier statement he had given to a police investigator. On cross-examination, Zion said he did not remember that earlier statement. Zion suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder, Mary said. The trial is expected to last about 2 weeks, and Judge George Gallagher had issued a gag order. Monday's court date will be abbreviated so people can attend the funeral of lead defense attorney Jim Lane, who died suddenly in late November. Shooting touches on race and police violence. The shooting was widely condemned, with the National Black Police Association saying in a statement that killing of Black citizens by white police officers had reached a critical mass. Fort Worth Mayor Betsy Price at the time said Jefferson's killing was unjustified and unacceptable. Police initially said the officer fired his gun after perceiving a threat. Officers provided medical care after the shooting, according to the police. Police said officers found a firearm when they entered the room where Jefferson died. Video released by the police showed 2 mostly blurred clips, which appeared to show a firearm inside the home. Dean, 34 at the time of the shooting, was hired in August 2017 and commissioned as a licensed officer in 2018, police said. 2 days after the shooting, Dean resigned from the police force and was arrested and charged with murder, the crime for which he was indicted in December 2019. It's crazy. Rest in peace to this sister, Tatiana Jefferson. Then we also had Sister Sandra Bland, which that went global, that went public. When I saw that video really touched me. I believe I saw that like a couple days after it went viral. But on July 10, 2015, Texas State Trooper Brian Encinia pulls over 28-year-old Black woman, Sandra Bland, for failing to signal in a changing lane. After a heated encounter, he arrests her and takes her to a nearby jail. 3 days later, on the morning of July 13th, she was found dead in her cell, apparently by suicide. The circumstances surrounding her death led to many questions how Bland could end up losing her life following a minor traffic stop. Bland's case drew international outrage over the treatment of Black people by white police officers and became a painful case cited in the Black Lives Matter movement. Encinia's dash cam and Bland's phone both record partial video of the incident. Bland refused Encinia's orders to put out her cigarette and get out of her car, at which point he brandished his taser and told her, "I will light you up."
Telling me, so I move over and you stop it. So yeah, I am a little irritated, but that doesn't stop you from giving me a ticket. So
Are you done?
you asked me what was wrong, and I told you.
Okay.
So now I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. You mind putting out your cigarette, please? If you mind.
I'm in my car. Why not put out my cigarette?
Well, you can step on out now.
I don't know. Why am I
Step out of the car.
No, you don't have the right.
Step out of the car.
You do not have the right to do that.
I do have the right. Now step out or I will remove you.
I refuse to talk to you other than to identify myself.
Step out or I will remove you.
I am getting removed for a failure.
Step out or I will remove you. I'm giving you a lawful order. Get out of the car now, or I'm going to remove you.
And I'm calling my
I'm going to yank you out of here.
Okay, you going to yank me out of my car?
Get out. Yeah, we're going to.
Yeah. Don't touch me.
Get out of the car.
Don't touch me. I'm not under arrest. You don't have the right to take me.
You are under arrest.
I'm under arrest for what?
2547 County FM 1098. Just
For what?
290. Send me another unit. Get out of the car.
Another unit FM 1098.
Get out of the car now.
Why am I being apprehended? You trying to give me a ticket
I said
for the
get
failure?
out of the car.
Why am I being apprehended? You
I'm
just
giving
opened
you a
my
lawful
car
order.
door. You just
I'm
opened
going to
my
drag
car
you
door.
out of here.
So you going to drag me out of my... And then you
I will
stun
light
me?
you up. Get out.
Wow.
Now.
Wow.
Get out of the car.
For a failure to signal. You doing all of this for
Get
a failure?
over there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, let's take this to court. Let's do
Go
it.
ahead.
For a failure to signal. Yep, for a failure to signal.
Get off the...
The alleged fight was not captured on video. Bland describing being knocked to the ground and telling Insignia she has epilepsy.
Make you feel good, officer. Take care of yourself. I know it make you feel real good. You're a real man now. You just slam me, knock my head in the ground. I got epilepsy, you motherfucker. Good. I hope I... Good.
Several days later, an officer sent to deliver Bland her breakfast found her dead, and an autopsy concluded she had hung herself with a plastic bag. Bland's family and friends immediately questioned not only her treatment, but also the official reports of her suicide. Bland was reportedly in good spirit around the time of her arrest, excited by the prospects of a new job she was due to start in a few days. Her death was almost exactly a year after the killing of Eric Gardner by the New York Police Department, fit into a pattern of police violence and systematic racism in law enforcement that became increasingly visible to the American public over the course of the 2010s. The jail where Bland died was found to have been ignoring protocols regarding prisoner observation, and in 2017, Texas passed the Sandra Bland Act, which attempts to educate police officers about mental illness and de-escalating, and mandates that jail diverts people with mental health or substance abuse issues into treatment. Bland's name became known across the country shortly after her death and was chanted at racial justice protests for years. Rest in peace to Sandra Bland. Another story I heard about that touched me is the sister, Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor is killed by police in a botched raid. Shortly after midnight on March 13, 2020, Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old Black emergency medical technician, is shot and killed by police in her Louisville, Kentucky apartment after officers busted through her door with battering ram. Taylor and her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, both of whom had no criminal record, had been asleep in bed. Walker, who later stated that he had inferred an intruder had broken into his home, used his legally owned gun to fire one shot, which wounded Sergeant Jonathan Mattingly in the leg. Mattingly and Officer Miles Crossgrove and Brett Hackinson, all white and in plain clothes, returned fire, blindly shooting 32 times in the dark, striking Taylor 6 times.
Over the weekend, never-before-seen body camera footage obtained and released by Vice News appears to show former Detective Brett Hankison, who was involved in the raid that killed Breonna Taylor, walking into the crime scene after the incident. According to Vice, that's him with the flashlight asking about shell casing.
That's theirs? No, it's ours, it looks like. But I'd back out until they get PIU in here.
CBS News has not been able to verify the video. If Hankinson was indeed at the scene after the shooting, that would be a violation of police policy, which states officers involved in shootings are to be isolated from all non-essential individuals for the remainder of the initial investigation.
That's just tremendously shocking.
And
According to the New York Times, Louisville police have received a court-approved no-knock warrant to search the apartment for signs of drug trafficking while investigating Taylor's ex-boyfriend, Jamarcus Glover. Those orders were changed to a knock and announce before the raid, the newspaper reports. The police involved stated they complied with the warrant, but Walker said he heard no such announcement. Somebody kicked in the door, shot my girlfriend, Walker told the dispatcher in a 911 call.
911 operator Harris, where is your emergency?
I don't know what happened. Somebody kicked in the door and shot my girlfriend.
Okay, how old is your girlfriend?
She's 26. Brittany.
You said 26. Where was she shot at?
I don't know. She's on the grill right now. I don't know.
Okay. You said she's 26. Is she alert and able to talk to you?
No, she's not. Breathe.
Okay, and you said you're in apartment number 4?
Hell, oh my God. Yes, hell.
3 officers were placed on administrative leave pending the investigation. Walker was arrested for attempted murder of a police officer, a charge that was dropped on May 22nd as the FBI, Department of Justice, and Kentucky attorney began their own investigations. According to the Times, no drugs were found in the apartment. Following an internal investigation, Hankinson was fired by the Louisville Metro Police Department June 23rd for violating procedures and was indicted by a grand jury on September 23rd on 3 counts of wanton endangerment. As bullets he fired entered a neighboring apartment with people inside. He pleaded not guilty in March of 2022. He was acquitted on all 3 counts. Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron told the grand jury that Mattingly and Crossgrove were justified in returning fire. No charges were brought against either man. Following Taylor's death, the subsequent national protests, including a viral social media campaign with the hashtag Say Her Name, and outcries from civil rights activists and political leaders, no-knock warrants were banned in Louisville and an ordinance known as the Breonna Law. The city also agreed to pay her family a historical $12 million in a wrongful death lawsuit settlement. Following a 2-year investigation, the Justice Department found a pattern of discriminatory and abusive practices in the Louisville Metro Police Department. We're going to talk about this sister, Corrine Gaines. I don't know if a lot of y'all remember her, but she went viral as well. And this is just the family of Corrine Gaines, 23-year-old killed by Baltimore police in 2016. They won a $38 million appeal in wrongful death lawsuit. A special appeals court ruled Wednesday in favor of the family of Corrine Gaines in an ongoing wrongful death lawsuit. In 2016, the then 23-year-old Gaines was shot and killed by police in an hour-long standoff in Baltimore County.
From screaming
My proof of insurance, my registration.
to calm,
The devil at my door, and he's refusing to leave. I'm at peace. I'm in my home. I ain't trying to hurt nobody.
and at one point seeking clarification from police.
They have taken half of my family out of my home, and it's me and my son in here, and I'm not sure what is going on.
Whole life ahead of you, got a beautiful baby, which I would like to meet. And you and I are going to talk until we come to an agreement. We bring everybody out safe.
The civil suit also claims Gaines told police she would leave the apartment if they put down their weapons, and that officers grew frustrated waiting and fired first with no regard for Gaines or her son's life.
You know, and I know that this ain't right.
It's not.
That's right. This should have went down this way, shouldn't it?
No.
Ever since, her family has been fighting for justice for her. WJZ just spoke with the family attorney who said this newest ruling is a step in the right direction. Originally, a grand jury awarded the family $38 million. A year later, however, the decision was reversed by a Baltimore County Circuit Court judge. Police said she pointed a shotgun at officers trying to serve an arrest warrant. Corrine Gaines died a horrible, tragic, sadistic death, and we just want justice for her and her family, Gaines' family attorney, J. Wendell Gordon said. Ever since her death, Gaines' family has been fighting through the legal system. Her family sued Baltimore County Police, saying the police officers used excessive force when they fatally shot her and injured her 5-year-old son. In 2018, a grand jury awarded Gaines' family $38 million, but a year later, a Baltimore County Circuit Court judge reversed that decision, citing qualified immunity, which protected police officers from civil liabilities when carrying out their duties. The family appealed, and on Wednesday, the Maryland Court of Special Appeals ruled in their favor. Gordon said he spoke to Gaines' mother about the decision. She wanted to say that justice was on the wings for us, but that we would win the case. But she was very excited, he said. Gordon said the next step is to return to court where they will make adjustment to the verdict and figure out what the actual award will be. WJZ reached out to Baltimore County, which sent us a statement saying they're reviewing the opinion issued.
Hey, here's my phone. Thanks, for the camera. Very good. I can see it. Go by the fridge, don't press the right here, Mom. Stay right there, move up a little bit. Step up. Right there, it's perfect. See if they got a gun aimed at you. Go a little bit. They don't. They don't. This is I can put this one. That was your mother texting.
I don't know if y'all remember that Sister Corrine Gaines, but she had made a few videos when she had got pulled over with traffic stop. It led to a search, her being arrested with a search warrant. So they came to her home, she went live. They killed her while she was on live, and they shot her 5-year-old son at the time. Islam.